former head of the Luhansk military civil administration and former deputy minister for temporarily occupied territories and internally displaced persons, Georgy Tuka, commented on the possibility of attacks on the aggressor country, Russia. A simulated strike against the Kremlin would achieve little. The disabling of the capital's airports would cause far greater discontent among Russians. But given that we don't yet have many powerful long-range weapons, it's better to use them against targets within the Russian Federation that are somehow connected to the Russian army and defense industry. He emphasized in an interview with Glavred. The expert says there are numerous such facilities in the Moscow region, some of which produce products, for example, for ballistic missiles that no other company in the Russian Federation produces. So if we disable even one of these facilities, the production chain will be disrupted, at least temporarily. A blackout in Moscow wouldn't hurt either, but I doubt we can organize that right now. Look at the Moscow air defense map. Moscow's airports are a weak point. Therefore, if we were to strike the Russian capital, I believe it would be advisable to focus on the airports, Tuka added. Defense Minister, advisor and blogger Alexei Kopytko reported that the SBU continues systematically and effectively targeting Russian defense sector enterprises, significantly reducing Russia's potential for missile and drone strikes against Ukraine. He emphasized that the Russian military-industrial complex has vulnerabilities, and targeted strikes against production facilities are already having a tangible effect, especially given Russia's dependence on imported components. According to Kopytko, even a single precision strike can cause significant damage. Combined with operations against Russia's strategic aviation, such actions are becoming a real tool for influencing the course of the war. The Russian military-industrial complex has vulnerabilities, and systematically targeting factories is paying off, given Russia's dependence on imports. Even a single hit can cause significant harm. Combined with the pursuit of Russian strategic aircraft, this could have a real impact on the course of the war. Successful attacks deep into Russia add political arguments to those whose interests align with ours. This is especially important now. Recall Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Kiev's forces were working to expand their long-range strikes inside Russia, with their sights set on oil refineries, the pumping heart of Moscow's war economy. Russia relies on its vast revenues from oil production to help sustain its ongoing war with Ukraine. The largest purchaser of Russian oil is China, its key strategic partner. Kiev's recent strikes on major refineries and processing plants have disrupted Russian production, and new US and European Union sanctions will add pressure on Moscow to end the war.
The UN's top humanitarian official has called for an immediate ceasefire in El Fasher, the capital of Sudan's North Darfur region, amid reports of significant civilian deaths, attacks on hospitals and the city's reported capture by the Rapid Support Forces. Aid workers worried Thursday that only a trickle of the people believed to have fled a paramilitary force that seized a city in Sudan's Darfur region have reached safety, as hundreds reportedly have been killed in the attack and while making their escape. People have been arriving to a town west of El Fasher, having fled on foot during the attack by the Rapid Support Forces, which has been fighting troops allied to Sudan's military since 2023 in the East African nation. Already, the World Health Organization has warned the violence reportedly killed 460 people in a hospital in El Fasher. Witnesses have told the Associated Press that RSF fighters also went from house to house, beating and shooting people, including women and children. The RSF on Thursday for the first time directly denied carrying out killings at the hospital as international outrage grows. Disrupted communications around El Fasher has made assessing the devastation that much more difficult. Experts have said satellite photos also appear to show bodies in the streets of the city after the RSF attack. The smaller number of people reaching the town of Tawila, about 60 kilometers, 35 miles, west of El Fasher and not under the paramilitary group's control, have aid workers fearing the worst.
Mr. President, since my last briefing to this Council, the conflict in Sudan has deteriorated even further. It has caused widespread suffering and new surges of horrific violence. After more than 500 days under siege, the city of El Fasher in North Darfur has been captured by the Rapid Support Forces. Only small pockets of resistance remain. The fall of the city marks a significant shift in the security dynamics. The implications for the people of Sudan and the region are significant. Other parts of the country have not been spared from the relentless violence. In recent weeks, fighting has intensified in the Kordofan region. This is likely the next arena of military focus for the warring parties. In North Kordofan, the city of Bara, just 40 kilometers from the state capital of El Obeid, and a strategic location for both sides, was captured by the Rapid Support Forces last week. This marked another escalation on the ground. Drone strikes by both parties are also affecting new territories and new targets. These include Blue Nile, Khartoum, Sennar, South Kordofan, and West Darfur, suggesting that the territorial scope of the conflict is broadening.
Mr. President, as you have heard, El Fasher, already the scene of catastrophic levels of human suffering, has descended into an even darker hell, with credible reports of widespread executions after Rapid Support Forces fighters entered the city. Can anyone here say that we did not know this was coming? We cannot hear the screams, but as we sit here today, the horror is continuing. Women and girls are being raped, people mutilated and killed, with utter impunity. And let us be clear that a full 16 months after the adoption of Resolution 2736, the victims will not know of the noble commitments on that page, nor hear our statements today about how much we care. Yesterday, almost 500 patients and their companions in the Saudi maternity hospital were reportedly killed. The latest of countless attacks on healthcare, and yet another example of the depravity with which this war has been fought. Tens of thousands of terrified, starving civilians have fled or are on the move, with most moving on foot towards Tawila to the southwest. And Tawila is already hosting hundreds of thousands of people displaced by previous attacks. Those able to flee, the vast majority women, children, the elderly, face extortion, rape, violence on the perilous journey. Young men have been abducted or killed on the road, large numbers of people prevented from leaving the area.